So yesterday, I went to the vet and received the ashes of my kitty, Silver Lining. Many of you knew Silver Lining, and he died about a month ago now. And I held his ashes in my hand and felt the heft of it, and how much lighter it is than so many of the other cremains I have held in my hands. I've held a lot of cremains, not just at St. Thomas, but before I got to St. Thomas, I've buried a lot of people. I've gotten so used to the heft of the cremains that I usually have a gut about how tall that person is based on the heft. And just the other day, I did a funeral at the church, and when I lifted the ashes and they were pretty heavy, I said, "Oh, he was tall." And his family said, "Yeah, he was tall." And when I received my mother's ashes in my hand, I knew that they would be light because she was shorter than me. And by the time she died after the long hospital stays, her muscles had atrophied and she was just very, very light. And yes, her ashes were very light. But a puff, and we blow away. Death has made a long visit on our planet. It feels like it's been more than 2 years since that Lenten time when we went into shelter in place. When I last checked, almost 6 million people in the world have died from COVID. That is a world of heartache. And as if that weren't enough, we wage war and cause so many more deaths. And that's another kind of heartache. All this dust, all the mayhem, it just swirls around. And I wonder, what can God do with dust? What can God do with our dusty lives? I think about this amazing phenomenon of dust that travels from the Sahara to the Amazon. So, about 7,000 years ago, the Sahara was a verdant place, it wasn't a desert. And it had a mega Great Lake. It was so big that this lake was bigger than all our Great Lakes combined. Mega Lake Chad was full of life. And what it was really full of were these diatoms, these algae like plankton. It's full of this. And they flourished in the lake. Today, as we know, the Sahara is a desert, and what is left in the sand in this area is the, these diatoms that used to live there. And they are in this area that is called the dustiest place in the world, Baudelaire Depression. And in this area is just full of dust. And when the winter winds come in the Sahara, the wind blows this dust all up into the sky. And it becomes this huge plume of dust. And then the wind sends this plume of dust across the Atlantic. And over the Atlantic, all the way to the Amazon, the rainforest moisture begins to bring this dust down. So, this dust is made of those diatoms from many, many years ago. And the diatoms have calcium and phosphorus, which are essential fertilizers. And the Amazon depends on this rain of, from the plumes of dust in order to nourish the forest. So, all the way from 7,000 years ago, all the way from the Sahara Desert, beyond the imagination of this wet area of the Amazon, is a nutrients coming its way. And without this dust, the Amazon would not be able to survive because it does not have the fertilizer it needs. What's interesting too is that it doesn't end just there in the fertilization of the rainforest. The rains wash away a lot of those minerals into the sea. And in the sea, the algae reuse the phosphorus and the calcium, and it starts the whole cycle again. So, what can God do with dust? How much of it is bigger than our understanding? When we look at our dusty lives and think, how can this be renewed? How can we understand how things change and get reshaped? It is a little beyond our understanding. How does the Amazon imagine the Sahara? So, today, as we mark ourselves with dust or consider what dust is and how God can use it, let us think about what it is we're doing when we put this mark on our forehead. That this dust is a sign of our trust in a God who can do something with dust, who can do something with our dusty lives and with this dusty world. So let us bless the dust. I want to read to you a blessing of the dust written by Jan Richardson. And Jan Richardson, her husband died a while ago from cancer and very quickly. And when she received his cremains, she wrote a blessing for dust. All those days, you felt like dust, like dirt, as if all you had to do was turn your face toward the wind and be scattered to the four corners or swept away by the smallest breath as insubstantial. Did you not know what the Holy One can do with dust? This is the day we freely say we are scorched. This is the hour we are marked by what has made it through the burning. This is the moment we ask for the blessing that lives within the ancient ashes, that makes its home inside the soil of this sacred earth. So let us be marked, not for sorrow. Let us be marked, not for shame. Let us be marked, not for false humility or thinking we are less than we are, but claiming what God can do within the dust, within the dirt, within the stuff of which the world is made. and the stars that blaze in our bones, and the galaxies that spiral inside the smudge we bear. Amen.